Long time no see, Crime Junkie jurors. We are back with our next live trial, and y'all, it is a doozy. And today was only day one, and it was already wild. Today is Friday, August 22nd, and opening statements for Donna Adelson's trial kicked off today in Tallahassee, Florida. Now, if you haven't heard of it, we did a crash course video going over all of the messy details and the crazy history behind this one. So make sure to check that out. It is on our YouTube channel. Now let's get into what you missed on trial day one. Now, the jury was selected yesterday. There are 8 men and 4 women, plus 2 female alternates. Now, they reported this morning and they heard jury instructions from Judge Stephen Everett, who, by the way, is great. I love him and the way he runs his courtroom. Now, once that's done, State Attorney Sarah Catherine Dugan delivers the opening statements for the prosecution. Dugan lays out the details of the day of Dan Markel's murder, leaving the gym, driving home, and then being gunned down in his garage, shot in the head, and left to die. Now, Dan's neighbor hears a loud bang and looks out in time to see a light-colored Prius pulling out of the driveway. Police didn't have much to go on, so they start pursuing 2 paths. 1, who could be in that Prius, and 2, who could have a motive to kill Dan. Dugan tells the jury that both of those paths led to Donna Adelson. Now, she lays out the details of the investigation, and she explains that Donna became overly involved in Wendy and Dan's divorce and became obsessed with having Wendy and her 2 kids move from Tallahassee to South Florida to be near her. So in order to make that move happen, she and her son Charlie, which is Wendy's brother, arranged through Charlie's girlfriend to have 2 hitmen drive from Miami to Tallahassee to kill Dan. Now, shortly after that, Wendy and the kids did relocate to South Florida with Donna and Harvey, Wendy's dad. So Dugan walks through details of how they were able to find the hitmen through following information on the Prius. Then, after finding the hitmen, they were able to find Katie McBanawa, one of the main contacts of one of the hitmen. Turns out they have kids together. And one of Katie's other main contacts was Charlie Adelson, who she was dating at the time. Dugan meticulously walks through all the ways that the murder is then able to be linked to the Adelsons. Something that was really impactful during all of this, Dugan had visuals that showed some of the intense text from Donna about Dan and about the divorce and about having Wendy move to South Florida. She also showed a picture to the jury of what Donna looked like in 2014, making sure that they know that that sweet grandma appearance that Donna is presenting now is not a true and accurate depiction of who she really was. Now, during prosecution openings, we did get a big bombshell dropped on us. Dugan said that witnesses have come forward since Donna was arrested. And it turns out she has been offering bribes in exchange for testimony. She even went so far as to write out a script with questions and answers for one of the women to memorize for trial. Dugan said Donna offered money, housing, even veneers in exchange for testifying in court that Katie McBanawa lied. The script was shown on screen briefly, but can't really read it. It's kind of blurry, but you can believe that we will be seeing that again later in trial. Then we have the defense opening. That was done by Jackie Fulford, and she kept it very brief. Basically, she said that Donna is just a normal mom and grandmother, and she told the jury that they wouldn't hear any evidence that says that Donna planned this murder. One thing that was kind of surprising, though, she said that there was money exchanged, but she said that that money was from Charlie, not Donna. So kind of looking like she's pointing the finger at Charlie here. I guess she's conceding that Charlie paid Katie, but we'll see if they stick to the story about Charlie being extorted, which is what he said during his trial. And we made it through some witnesses pretty quickly today in the beginning. Now, we heard from Dan's neighbor who looked out the window to see a light-colored Prius quickly backing out of Dan's driveway. So he goes to check on Dan, and that's when he found him shot in his car. He called 911, waited on the responders to arrive, and then they took over. The next witness up was that first responder. It was Sergeant David Sims. He was the first one on the scene. He described the scene and what it was like, and he noted no signs of struggle or robbery. Then we had the forensic specialist who collected evidence. She said she tried to get fingerprints, but there were none of value, and she collected Dan's wallet that still had money in it. So again, no signs of this being a robbery. She also photographed Wendy's car that was towed to Tallahassee Police Department. She took a picture of the bullet bourbon that Wendy had on the front seat and the receipt from ABC Liquor Store that was near Dan's house, and that had a timestamp on it of 12:49 p.m. That was on the day that he was murdered. Now, she also photographed Dan in the hospital, and when a picture was shown in court of the gruesome condition that he was in, it drew audible gasps from the gallery. Then Donna started crying. Take a look.
What is stippling?
Stippling is being close contact to a firearm that was discharged, and it's going to be the unburnt gunpowder and gases that leave the barrel of a gun at a high velocity. And it.
Okay, to me, this did not seem genuine. Her attorney rubbing her back to comfort her just felt over the top. Let me know what y'all think in comments. Do you think that it was a real reaction or a show for the jury? The entire thing was pretty obvious. And when the jury was excused, the judge basically told Donna, fix your face.
Before we go on the recess break this afternoon, I do believe this merits a small bit of discussion on the topic. The matters that we've discussed at sidebar concerning emotional responses, I do feel it is important at this point. Mrs. Adelson, when the testimony is occurring or the evidence, I know you may have a natural reaction, but as best possible, you need to control your reactions concerning any head movements, any expressions of disagreement, or any emotional outbursts. The jury must decide this matter on the merits, on the evidence. Do you understand this? Very well.
We also heard from the medical examiner who did Dan's autopsy, and he described the gunshot wounds and how damaging they were. He said the second shot was fatal, and even if there was immediate medical attention, it would likely still have been fatal. Now, then we heard from Craig Esom. He is a retired Tallahassee police officer who actually investigated Dan's death. Now, as part of his investigation, he briefly talked to Wendy, who was not ID'd as a suspect in the beginning. He then started going through their entire divorce case, looking for motive stuff. You gotta always look at the spouse, right? And then he found out how contentious it was. So the defense started to object to a lot of things. They didn't want a lot of this divorce stuff coming in. So the judge sent the jury out and addressed the attorneys directly. And he basically told them, y'all need to get it together.
At this point, I'm nearing becoming inclined to send the jurors home for the day, as we are wasting a significant amount of time on matters that were either previously litigated or now are still being challenged for reasons that could have been handled out of court. Before we leave here today, if we need to go through every single state exhibit to deal with any objections concerning them, we will do so, however long that takes. But we're not going to be wasting the jurors' time.
This is something that they have already gone through in pretrial litigation. So they bring the jurors back in, and it happens again.
Your Honor, been object again. Mrs.
One
Adelson.
moment. Members of the jury, the bailiff is going to take it, right? So, not to sound like a broken record, but that part where the jurors need to go home so the issues concerning these documents can be worked through. Concerning that, Mr. Zellman, what is your position?
Judge, I've said all along.
I know what your argument is, but as to the items that the state is seeking to admit today, are there going to be more challenges of this nature? If you have objections, I will rule on them, but we're not going to waste the jurors' time.
Third time's a charm, I guess. And we finally get to hear from Officer Esom for more than 30 seconds. Now, from him, we learn that Donna called Dan some pretty offensive names via email and even tried to tell Wendy to take their kids to a Catholic church and send photos of it to Dan in order to try to coerce him to let the kids move to Miami. The prosecution then played several videos showing Dan Markel's movements on the morning he was killed. You can clearly see the silver Prius in the footage, and it starts around 5 hours and 35 minutes into the live stream from today if you want to check it out. So the detective walks the jurors through his process of using the Department of Transportation records to identify the Prius and then find the rental agreement that had the names and phone numbers of the two men who rented it. They were then able to tie those two men to Katie, and from there they found their connection to the Adelsons. Then we hear Georgia, the lead prosecutor, say, Mr. Rivera is coming up next. And then in comes Luis Rivera, the man convicted for aiding in Dan Markel's murder. And y'all, he did not hold back. First, he talked about how he and Sigfredo Garcia agreed to carry out the hit on Dan and that they actually traveled to Tallahassee twice to attempt the murder. The first time they lost him and weren't able to do it. We didn't really learn anything super new on Rivera's direct testimony. He basically went over kind of everything that he said in previous trials about how it happened, going to Tallahassee, coming back, getting rid of the gun, and all of that. But when it was the defense's turn, it was kind of like a bomb went off in the courtroom. Check it out.
Okay. And then you followed him to his house.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's where he was killed.
Yes, ma'am.
And the woman who wanted him to be killed, past you and Sigfredo and Katie, the woman who wanted him to be killed was Wendy Adelson, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then I said, if you would, put the number 5 next to the lady that wanted the man killed. And did you do that?
Yes, I did.
And was that with Wendy Adelson?
Yes, I did.
Y'all, that is huge information. And this morning during opening statements, I was like, oh, wow, they're kind of throwing Charlie under the bus. And then this happened at the end of the day, and I'm like, they're throwing Wendy under the bus as well. It was crazy, like pointing both fingers at Wendy. It was wild. I was actually shocked. I was shocked. So let me know what y'all think about that. And do you think that Wendy could be next? Let me know. Now, Rivera was the last witness for today. So who will be first up on Monday? I'm thinking it'll be Wendy. She was there in the courthouse today. She was actually outside in the hallway waiting. And I think that they're going to bring her in. So let me know what y'all think. Now, join us Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We will be back live covering every single second of this wild case. I'll see y'all then.